Welcome back to Legalese 123, where we are covering cases across America. Hello and welcome back to Legalese 123. I'm your host, Missy K. We are still in the thick of the trial of George Pino versus Florida, or Florida versus George Pino. We are on day 5. Yes, we're a little bit behind, but we are going to catch up. Today is Sunday, the 14th of June. So if you're watching this and you're like, hey, welcome to the replay crew. So where are we? So we left off on day 4, where we had one of the officers who testified to the reenactment that they did. He was just the drone person who was doing the pictures. And it was just basically how they recreated what potentially could have happened. Obviously, a crash didn't happen when they were recreating it, but they came awfully close. So if you weren't able to watch that, go back to day 4. At the end, you can see them recreating what they believe to have happened. All right, so we are now on day 5. I'm assuming we're going to be going and talking about some other officers. So let's get right into the thick of things and let us begin. So 1 second, and there are no closed captions. So we're going to have to do our best to sort of muddle through things. And I can't control what goes on in court. The microphones are very sensitive. They'll pick up things like stapling. There's nothing I can do about it. This courtroom, for some reason, they just don't have the best sound system. So let's go, law lovies.
And you know it's pointed one way, the jury's this way, so keep it moving the left to right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Lieutenant William Thompson. I work for the FWC.
How long have you worked for, FWC stands for what?
Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission
How long have you worked for FWC?
since 2017.
I want to call your attention to the date of September 4th, 2022. Were you working on that day?
I was.
Was it a holiday weekend?
It was.
Did your agency have an increased number of officers out there?
It did.
Why?
Holiday weekend hired boat traffic around the area.
On that day, did you meet a person by the name of George Pino?
I did.
Do you see him in court today?
I do.
Can you please point to and describe what he's wearing?
He's wearing a dark sports coat with a blue tie.
For the record, the witnesses identified the defendant.
So again,
Did you know him prior to that day?
I did not.
Did you have a chance to speak with him at a place called Elliott Key Harbor?
I did.
Initially, do you have a brief exchange with him while he's still on a police boat?
I did.
What was the purpose of that interchange?
To identify the operator of a vessel that was involved in an accident.
About what time was it that you came into contact with him?
Around,
If you need to refresh your recollection, just let us know.
I like to use my notes to look at time, please.
you do your notes if you would, sir, don't leave from them, you are asking you to do that.
Around 6:37 p.m.
That's when you spoke with him?
at Elliott Key, correct? Prior to that, around 6:20.
Okay. Now, did you at Elliott Key? At Elliott Key, did you speak with him about trying to figure out whose boat it was and where it was trailered?
Yes,
Okay. And what time is that?
that is at 6:37 p.m.
Was your interaction with him while he was on the boat at Elliott Key recorded on your body worn camera?
It was.
Did you have an opportunity to review with me a jump drive that has a number of clips from your body worn camera?
Yes, ma'am.
For the record, I'm showing counsel page 5H. Lieutenant, do you recognize any writing on this exhibit?
I do.
And is that your handwriting?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that signify that you've watched the contents of this clip and it accurately depicts portions of your body worn camera?
Yes, ma'am.
I move states 5H for identification and evidence.
Prior objection admitted.
5H, field mark for identification becomes a state exhibit 98.
Lieutenant, the first clip that's on here, is that you speaking with him on a boat at Elliott Key?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it daylight or nighttime at that time?
Nighttime.
Do you remember about what time it was?
8:16 p.m.
So you actually authenticated 2 videos with me this morning, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Hold on one second. I'm grabbing another one.
Now, this is the exhibit number, please.
98.
90, thank you.
For the record, I'm showing counsel now states 5G. Lieutenant, same question. I showed you 2 jump drives this morning. Can you take a look and tell me if you recognize initials on this?
I do.
And is this going to be the clips of your actual body on camera footage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the other one, does that have to do with another issue that we're going to talk about in a bit?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I move states 5G for identification and evidence.
Subject to prior objection, amended.
5G, mark for identification, becomes a state exhibit 99 in evidence.
For the record, the state will not publish the statement that's labeled 1, statement 1. And Your Honor, have the transcripts for the jurors to follow.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be handed some transcripts. This is for your use to follow the video evidence. These transcripts are not in evidence. The video is the evidence.
Right. So do you remember in the Corey Richens case, I think that I don't know if there was a phone conversation or something. They were trying to follow along. They had transcripts of the call. And I don't know if it was the jurors wanted the transcript. Anyways, the defense was like, you can't just send the transcript back in with the jury of this just specific whatever it is that they were asking for, because they didn't want the jurors to give this weight versus the other ones that had transcripts. So you need to rely on what you hear or what you see. Remember, the digital evidence always goes back with the jury and they're able to hear it again if they want to, but they cannot have the actual physical transcript because it might sway them one way or the other. So transcripts don't go back.
Do you need one?
Thank you.
Yes, correct. We're going by. You leave the vote in the wire street or not sure? So I go, I turn back to look. Okay, so go ahead. Yeah, that's the bar. I have 5, 6 in the front. My wife in the middle. We were coming, approached the ways. And first thing I always do, voted in. I was looking at the girls and just to make sure they're looking to see in the back. And the next thing I know, I hit the weight, and I find this weight, and the right side of the vote. The left side of the vote. Hit the button. Right. So. Do you have a trailer for that? The boat goes back to Ocean. That's in the back. So usually I would have the back. Part of the thing that was not for the you got anywhere up for that around the other. So where they're going to riders was like one hospital up in Miami. They're going to us. I mean, people keep updated as we go along. Okay, we'll keep you updated as we go along there. Go ahead. Captain's name.
Lieutenant, it appears that when you have this initial interchange with the defendant while he's on that boat, are you asking him how the boating crash happened?
No, ma'am.
What are you trying to get information about at that point?
So I'm trying to figure out where the vessel comes from, see if it has a trailer, because we have an active scene out there. There's a boat drifting. It could become a navigational hazard. So at that moment, I'm trying to see if there's a trailer. I have people on land trying to coordinate on how to get that boat out of the water, so it's not in the way of other boat traffic. So if he has his own trailer, the goal is to use his trailer to transport that boat.
So when he's telling you about some other boat or something, that's not what you were there to find out from him.
No, ma'am.
He's just spontaneously telling you those things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that was at about 8:16 in the evening?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you speak with the defendant again a little later that same evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that also at Elliott Key Harbor?
Yes, ma'am.
When is the next time that you have interaction with him?
At 8:59 p.m.
Okay. Can you tell the court what you were doing? Well, when did you finish that little brief conversation with him?
8:18.
Okay. So from 8:18 to 8:59, almost 45 minutes or so, can you tell the members of the jury, are you having any interaction with George Pino?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so then at 8:59, you then wind up speaking with him again, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, were you wearing your body-worn camera?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it recording that interaction with him?
Yes, ma'am.
At that point in time, do you have any sense that he's committed a criminal offense?
No, ma'am.
Was he allowed to interact with his daughter and the other girls that had been brought to Elliott Key?
Yes, ma'am. It was encouraged.
Now, when you speak with him the second time, can you tell the jurors, what was your aim?
Second time I spoke to him was to conduct a boating accident investigation. So I wanted to sit down with him and get the specifics of what he remembered that happened or occurred during that time.
Where is it that you speak with him?
At a park bench.
Okay. Were there other officers around you?
No, ma'am. Not that time.
Did you raise your voice to him?
No, ma'am.
Did you order him around?
No, ma'am.
Was he cooperative with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he handcuffed?
No, ma'am.
Did he require any assistance to walk to that picnic table?
No, ma'am.
Was he responsive to you when you asked him questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you understand what he was saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you wear your body-worn camera on that night, the same place where we see it right now on your uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's basically at chest level.
Yes, ma'am.
When you're seated opposite the defendant and reporting this interview, can you see his face?
No, ma'am. You see his chest, if anything.
During that interaction with him, did you ever ask if he'd been drinking alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Does he tell you anything about drinking alcohol?
He does.
What does he say?
He tells me that he had 2 beers.
During that interview, do you make arrangements for fire rescue workers to come over and check him out, make sure he's okay?
Yes, ma'am. He was bleeding from the elbow. I wanted to make sure that he was okay, so I had fire rescue take a look at him.
All right. For the record, I'm not going to publish the statement on the state's evidence style 2.
Counsel, did you have?
Oh, yes, I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me also add to the explanation about transcripts. Again, there are recorded conversations, recordings are the evidence, transcripts are easy to help you follow along. Transcripts are not in evidence. If there's any discrepancy between what you see on the transcripts and what you hear in the recorded conversation, you must rely on what you hear in the recorded conversation as the evidence. All right, this will apply the instruction I just gave you to all of the recorded conversations you're about to hear. All right?
And Judge, so we can preserve pretrial motions related to the subject matter of the witness
Yes,
testimony.
sir, for the record.
Or the FWC. I do all voting actions like series. Every time someone says something is lighthearted, that's fine. So right now, no update. My office is investigating Wisconsin. So y'all went to the same spot. My office, medical staff won't give it that update until my guys get there. Won't be able to talk until it was actually called. So my guys are about 10, 15 minutes away. Everyone is okay. Oh, that's all the girls. Are there over there? There's some over there. There's some over there. No, somewhere in there. All the girls are fine. They're a little bit. So right now, as I am conscious, which is I was all but from Oliver Sandbar. So someone told me that we're going to go. I was on the family. I'm still getting all the pieces.
Your Honor, would the court please read the instruction to the jury regarding?
Edited recordings.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have read it to you yesterday, the other day. There may be portions of these recordings that have been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of this case. Please, that should not concern you in terms of how you evaluate the evidence. And it must not impact you as to how you view or consider the evidence. Mhm.
We'll come back. We'll come back to this. Hey, what do you guys do fire rescue? Wait till you go from Gash's elbow. He's waiting for Gash's elbow. What do you guys do grabbing fire rescue? Yeah, we're taxed for the boat. Which we also talk about music. Fire rescue.
And to remind me that the body cam is working, it'll rumble on my chest, and that's that rumbling noise you guys are hearing.
Yeah, hold the boat. And how many hours? You can put hours. How many hours? I know. Yeah, those. All you pretty much. How long is this boat? All of it. Yeah, all this equipment on the boat, right? I'm actually checking if I have. I have some people over there. Make sure I get officers. We go over there. I just want to so we have the only owner of that boat, but all you have is on it. Is that channel. I was concerned we were going through there. Because it was feeling over top. We'll walk out of that. You go from the back. We were going through the last marker. When we were going through the waves, I was veering to the right. To cut into the waves. Okay. I don't know. Okay. I went through the waves. And I know that it's the waves. That was good. I was a little concerned with my wife. Watch. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was vocal. Pretty sure it was vocal. And there. Okay. So I turned around and I said, "Hey guys, watch out! Hold on. I'm trying to get you guys on the back. You walk around. You're right on the back." And as soon as I said it, I was going through the wave, and I looked, and the wheel. I guess when I did one ways, the wheel turned a little bit. A little bit as I was coming back in. I lost a little control. I think I got sure. Okay. And it was I'm pretty sure it was the left side of the boat that skidded. The left side of the boat, mine was in front. Okay. consent to search the GPS and the engine to see if there's any engine issues, if the engine's revved, if the GPS will show the track. I would love to get consent to search the GPS, the engines, and the phone. Because I want to see what the GPS is telling me. I want to know if the engines, once you get that weight, those issues will rev. When they get the weight, they did a lot of fraud. It's like it's hard. That's why I told you lost. I like one of those. I'll get a form, we'll sign that. No, that's what I really do. I know what caused the accident. So we'll sign that, and then find out, we'll pull the boat out ourselves. We're gonna take it right. I can't not tell you about these things. Yeah, we'll pull it out now, we'll put it on a trailer, put a lot of my gate at my office. That's why I need to do a search too, so I can get all the purses, all the bags, all the personal belongings out there too. Everyone's personal belongings, let me get their favorite pack, it's right now, by the time it goes right. So I walk in there. And then in a minute, I'm going to ask for a written statement from you and a seating chart of where everybody to recollection is sitting on the boat. That'll be a minute. Really quick, I'm going to get that one form. You want to talk to your daughter real quick? You want to talk to? I'm back. Let's hear it. Over top.
Okay. I can't gain it up anymore. I can barely hear it. I just know that he had stated that he was telling the girls to look out, telling his wife and the girls to look out, something about another boat coming in the wake. And somehow or another, at some point in time, he told the officer that he only had 2 beers. I didn't hear it. I've got my really good headphones on. I still can't hear it. And then also, I did hear that he told George Pino that we're going to get the boat out of the water. He needed permission to look at the GPS to see what speed he was going at the wakes and stuff. I don't know if that's going to help them determine whether or not they think that he did something negligent. We'll find out when they have the GPS analyzer person come and tell us what they found. All right, let's continue. Remember, I have this at 1.3 speed, so it is a little bit faster. And yes, the court noises are disturbing. I can't do anything about that.
What time did you stop speaking with the defendant to go and get some other forms?
9:13 p.m.
The recording that we just heard, is that exactly the way that you and the defendant were interacting with each other?
Yes.
At the time that you're talking.
By the way, when he is talking to them, you can hear a little bit of George speaking. To me, just hearing it, he was very coherent. Didn't sound like slurred speech and didn't sound like he was stumbling with his words or anything. So.
Yes.
At the time that you're talking with him, is he showing any overt signs of being impaired by alcohol?
I should have just
Is he
waited.
cooperative with you?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, is he volunteering to give you information?
Yes, ma'am.
And did he express any kind of concern for the people that were his passengers?
Yes, ma'am.
Did it seem legitimate?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at that time, when you're speaking with George Pino, do you have any idea what his GPS is going to tell you?
No, ma'am.
At that moment in time, are you thinking in any way that he's a criminal suspect?
No, ma'am.
At that time, when he gave you this, explanation that there was some other vessel that caused this crash, did you have any reason at that moment to doubt what he was saying to you?
No, ma'am.
So at the end of that exchange, do you then wind up ultimately maybe talking with some colleagues, but then getting papers that you needed?
Yes, ma'am.
What were the papers that you needed?
Consent to search form.
Okay. What's a consent to search form?
It's a voluntary form that the individual signed to give us access to look at whatever we put on it. So GPSs, hatches, engine data, just so we can do a thorough investigation to look over the boat.
Now, while you went to go get these papers, where is the defendant?
He is still on the island. He's checking on the girls. He's talking to other people all around him.
Is he handcuffed?
No, ma'am.
Are the police officers on either side of him escorting him around?
No, ma'am.
Is he able to wander around freely with the other girls that were there?
Yes, ma'am.
About how long were you gone?
I was gone for roughly 20 minutes
Okay. Where was it that you had to go to get these papers?
to my patrol vessel.
Is that basically your, I don't know, like a floating office for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when you step away from the defendant, do you mute your microphone?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain why?
We mute our microphones when we're not discussing anything with the public or speaking to other colleagues, law enforcement, first responders, might be sensitive subjects, sensitive matters. So we have the ability to mute it when we're speaking to other law enforcement, not the public.
Was it your intention when you re-engaged with the defendant to unmute your microphone?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you forget to do that right off the bat?
I did.
Okay. But did you at some point during that second interchange?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, did your body worn camera capture some images of the defendant while he was interacting with the other girls and on that island?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that one of the clips that you reviewed earlier this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
For the record, I'm going to be publishing the clip in 3 Elliott E. Norton. No, no, no. And at this time, is your microphone on mute?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he have any bandages on his body?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
On his head.
Gentlemen, witness have permission to step down for a moment?
Yes. Can you give us that, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Right now, are you conversing with your colleague?
I am.
That person you just saw with the light on his head, who's that?
That's, you know.
Lieutenant, at one point, you see on your body worn camera, what looks to be like the top of a clipboard or something like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe for the jurors, what is it that you're holding in your hand?
So that clipboard is where I keep a lot of documents such as consent search forms, written statements. So I have to go back and forth from my vote to Mr. Pino, trying to bring all the paperwork in. So we sit down and take care of everything.
Can you describe what it looks like?
Yeah, it's a plastic, look at the folder, the board on top, and on the inside, it has all of, so like all the paperwork there, so the elements like the sun, rain, and the paper.
Well, I'm getting dizzy. Go around.
After that 20-minute or so period of time when you had gone to go get these additional papers in your clipboard of sorts, do you communicate again with the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you make contact with him?
He's sitting on a bench with 2 young ladies that were passengers of the vessel. I asked him if he'd come back over to the park bench that we spoke at earlier.
And what was his reaction?
Cooperative.
Did you have to entice him to come with you?
No, ma'am.
He just instantly said, okay, no problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have to assist him at this point walking over to the table?
No, ma'am.
When you are with him at that table, is your body worn camera still recording?
Still video recording.
But what about audio?
No, it's not.
Did you in fact show to the defendant a form called the consent to search form?
Yes, ma'am.
The record I'm showing counsel states 1P for identification. Lieutenant, I'm showing you states 1P. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it have your handwriting on it?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this an enlarged copy of the consent to search that you showed to the defendant on September 4th, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
the record, I move states 1P for identification and evidence.
No objection.
1P, marked for identification, becomes State Exhibit 100.
Lieutenant, would you please read what is on that consent to search form?
It says, I, George Pino, owner operator of fishing vessel, documentation DO 1294732, having been informed of my constitutional rights to not have a search of my property hereinafter mentioned without a search warrant and my right to refuse to consent to such a search, do voluntarily consent to search the following equipment: GPS units, engines, hatches, bags, personal belongings, etc. The above equipment may be searched for all data, including but not limited to waypoints, track lines, marks, routes, events, position data, and dates by special agents or officers of the FCC. Technical assistance such as authorized dealers, technicians, or manufacturers' technicians, or other FWCC enforcement designees. I further understand that anything or any article that may be found during the search may be used as evidence against me in any criminal or civil trial.
Your Honor, may the witness step down again, please.
Yes.
Lieutenant, first off, who fills out the name George Pino up here? And what is this documentation number?
Documentation is an identifier of the vessel that Mr. Pino is operating. It's a federal documentation number, so we put away for that federal documentation.
Speaking of that vessel, was it in fact taken out of the water that night?
It was not taken out that way.
It took a day or two to get it out.
Yes, sir.
Now I see under here, I felt voluntarily consent to search of the following equipment. We see GPS units, engines, hatches, bags, personal belongings, etc. Who wrote that in?
I did.
At the bottom, I see a signature. Who wrote that signature?
The defendant.
Okay. And what was the date and the time that this was signed?
9/4/2022 at 21:31 hours, which is 9:31 p.m.
Okay. And then down here, the name of the person giving permission. Who wrote that?
I did.
And I see name of person with missing signature. Who's that?
That was me.
And did you fill out your name?
I did.
Below that, it asks address and telephone number of person giving permission. Who wrote that information?
I did.
And at the bottom, again, there's another signature person giving permission. Who wrote that signature?
Defendant.
And then the signature of the person witnessing permission?
That was my signature.
Thank you. Once the defendant gave you his permission for you to search his vessel, did you then advise him of what's commonly referred to as his Miranda rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain to the jury why you did that?
The reason I advised him of his Miranda rights was just in case he says something along the lines of, I had a copious amount of drugs in my system, I drank something, I did this on purpose. I want to make sure that he's advised of his rights before he makes any such comment like that.
Was he under arrest at that point in time?
No, ma'am.
No handcuffs on him?
No, ma'am.
No physical force used against him, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. In order to advise him of his Miranda rights, did you have handy with you what's commonly referred to, I think, as a Miranda card? Can
Yes, ma'am.
you tell the jurors what's a Miranda card?
It's a state-issued piece of plastic that we usually keep in our vest or in our pocket on our person. It has the Miranda warnings written onto it with a couple questions on the back end to ask the individual that we're reading the rights to.
Showing counsel states 5R for identification. Pretend I'm showing you states 5R. Is this a photocopy of the Miranda card
Yes, ma'am.
that you would have advised the defendant with?
Yes, ma'am.
This time I move states 5R for identification and evidence.
Just we want to preserve all the prior objections, including the pretrial motions to this area.
Absolutely it is, and I'll look at you.
And maybe we just have a standing objection, so I don't need to.
Sure, no problem.
5R, marked for identification, becomes State Exhibit 101.
Lieutenant, would you read from this document what you read to the defendant in the same type of tone that you read it to him?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say cannot be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. If you consent to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time. Do you understand each of these rights? With these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now?
Did the defendant ever tell you, no, I'm not willing to talk to you?
No, ma'am.
So he's still being cooperative, is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Lieutenant, I have 2 pages here. Is the actual card, like, there's printing on the front and the back?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point while you're advising the defendant of his rights, do you remember, oh gosh, I forgot to turn on my microphone?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you turn it on right then and there?
Yes, ma'am.
And once you hit the microphone on your camera, is the remainder of that exchange with the defendant recorded?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we get to watch some more video, but he didn't video himself Mirandizing the person, which isn't necessarily bad. I mean, the guy signed a waiver, so
For the record, I am now publishing the clip that is titled 4, Statement 3. Your Honor, may the witness have permission to step down again?
Yes.
Lieutenant, what are we looking at right now?
My patrol vessel.
Is this where you went to retrieve that consent form?
Yes, sir.
And did you in fact start filling it out?
Yes, sir.
That's the clipboard you described for us?
Yes, sir.
I just saw a young person with a life jacket. Is that one of the girls that you brought back?
Yes, sir.
Is the defendant in this group here?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a little blurry, but. Oh. Who was he interacting with at that point?
To the passengers. Yes, sir.
Was there anybody from fire rescue with him also?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's this?
I have to look at my notes.
I'm sorry, can't hear you, so sorry.
I said I have to look at my notes. It's one of the passengers.
This officer here received a green light on his hand on camera. What does that tell you about covert on or covert off?
I think covert's off, so you can see that blinking light I was talking about earlier, that can be distraction. You have the ability to cover that up, so there's no blinking light, that means covert is on.
Is that the form that we see in the bottom of the screen?
Yes, ma'am, that's the consent search warrant.
Was it rocky out there?
It was.
Is this the picnic table and you speaking to the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this point, is he actually walking with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you guys side by side?
Not directly side by side.
But we can't see him because he's not in the field of view.
Correct.
What are you doing at this point?
Describing to the consent search form and giving him his instructions with it.
Lieutenant, as you're going over this form, the consent search form, is he giving you any impression that he's impaired by alcohol?
No, ma'am.
At this point, has the defendant signed that consent form?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you now start to transition into beginning to get ready to read him his rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the bottom part of the screen, are we going to see a little bit of that card that you were using?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in there?
It's actually from the top. It's the right time where you have the rest of the lawyer question. What I don't know, I'll be appointed representative for the question commission, presenting 10 questions now without a lawyer present. We'll go to the right side answer at any time. You understand the rights. We have the rights, my language is not. I have to do everything. So I have to go to exit report and I have to go to index. So just in case you say something along the line of like your let's drop or something like that. Exactly right. I have to read your rights. It's your right as a U.S. citizen. I have to read it. Which answers my question. I know. I just. No. I know anything. I am not. We can talk anytime. So I just have to do everything I do, I have to do my steps. But I do need for a week the statement there is pretty much what you told me what happened on the statement, and I'm back to a picture of the senior arrangement. I know the senior arrangement. You're at the birthday, sir. Your address, what's that? Your phone number? Is it different yourself? Same. Do you have your work number? Okay. I'll try to get as much lines as possible. Pretty much where you were, like what you told me, where you were going, how fast you're going, what happened with the link to college, and write as best you can. I know you're not going to give me a book, just the best of your knowledge. And then how long have you been driving that boat? How long have you been driving boats? That you check your safety. Everything's going to check your safety. Every single thing. Go to that, please. This is the last thing. No, that's fine. That's fine. So, what's the first thing you want? The tiger? That will have that. We'll flip it over and we'll just draw it out. Give me from before the accident, so we were going. That's not true, correct? It is true. Do you not know the pulse number? I didn't want to. It is true. You are the pulse number. The pulse
Lieutenant, you hear somebody say 9112?
Correct.
What's 9112?
That's my call sign.
Okay, can you explain to the jurors real quick, like, how it is when you're communicating on police radio?
So we communicate via call sign, so every unit, every supervisor has a different number, so what you're hearing.
Stand close.
So what you're hearing there is, that was a supervisor that was on land asking about the insurance company for the vessel that was in the accident. The reason for that is, we're trying to get that boat floated and get it to layout, and it costs a lot of money to get that done. So what he's working on, while I'm speaking to the defendant, is getting the towboat or seaboat we usually use to get out there and go through their insurance, so it doesn't cost their agency the money to get that floated.
LTV vessel is insured, it's the progressive.
What does LT mean?
Lieutenant.
What is it that the defendant is doing right now?
He's filling out a sworn written statement.
Did he seem to have any difficulty writing this statement?
No, ma'am.
What is that equivalent of that?
Depends on how much props you have, how many you have. You have the best ones if you want. Well, there's some that's I want to look at games to see what they're pushing, what the output, what the turn props are. Put it through your experience on that, but then that helps us. The girls do the same thing for us. They have a better knowledge of where they were sitting up front. I was just talking about it. Yeah. But I'm doing the best I can. Okay, sure. I'm doing the best I can. Yeah. I mean, did they remember this or what? They did not see. No, the girls up here knew where they were all sitting. They didn't know it was back here. I know that. Yeah. And the three individuals that were taken, the wife and the girls, which ones they went. So, that's Lucy. Lucy's up front. Okay. So Pino, Lucy, and the other two girls. So if you like, I'll play it. And then go over the line here. Go over. I mean, got here, Lucy. Yeah. I go over. You don't have to run. I want to get you first before I let you go. I just want to make sure that your wife is at Jackson South. So I don't say too long. But you swear that everything is told us the truth on the statement.
Two questions. First off, at that moment, when you say to the defendant, I want to send you to the right place, you can stop. Were you signifying to him, like, you're not going to keep him in custody?
No, I want to make sure he got back to his wife. He's worried about everybody else injured. Just his wife, yeah, so.
Okay, now, you just back this up about 10 seconds. I'm going to ask you.
Jackson South. So I don't say too long. But you swear that everything is told us the truth on the statement. Yes.
As a law enforcement officer, are you permitted to swear people in to tell the truth?
I am.
Let me know. You want me to try to put the initials of your number? Do I remember? We'll come back. Anything else? We'll come back to it in a couple days. Time. I can put. Sure. I want to get you your wife. I want to share you. I don't know if I remember. Because there was other stuff. So, daughter is here. Here. And then. Really? I don't remember. I know they were here. I'm gonna ask you to write one more thing for me so I don't forget it. After the accident happened, you went up to the road. Yeah. Actually, I don't recall. She was under, but she was
but it was so crazy. It was right, which I was pretty sure that right now.
Right then after accident, I found Lucy and supported Lucy or whatever.
Yeah, I know, it was like, she may have come out of that right when I was going to under. And when I went under, she was like right next to me. And I think because I got into the boat where the cockpit was. First, in this area. So the boat's upside down. The engine's here. And I was here. Right, I saw everybody over here floating.
Where, if she wasn't in the boat, where was she by the damaged area of the boat?
It was like, I would say,
You put a little dot right there for me? Put just her initials? She's not, Lucy's not, that's not used to it. And then,
so the boat came. And then they left. And then I stayed.
did that boat just to Lucy?
I continued swimming, looking for me. And then came out, and everybody was over there. You could see everybody was there. And a guy and a girl came out.
So Lucy went, Lucy was the only one who went the first one. And the other two went. And then somebody went the other one.
So not those, I don't.
That's fine. Will you write that
I saw they were ready to be.
can you write that I was swam up to Lucy and I said Lucy was a little boat. Can you write that one, please? Okay, let me go get my radio real quick and make sure I know exactly what I'm saying. I know what it is. You just verify my hospitals. I can do 10. So I can't go to. Very specifically.
Oh, actually, I just wanted to ask you a question.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to take actually, just one. Because we can just click. How much longer do I want to do it? Yes. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, put the, we just go adjourn. We're gonna take a break in about another 30 minutes, so if there's one here, that's fine, send one turn back. Sit for a moment.
All right, one juror out for a break or whatever she needs. We're gonna zoom.
All right, I think we're ready to proceed.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll take a break for all the jurors and everyone else in about 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Lieutenant, with the court's permission, if you could step down for a minute, I want to ask you if you can, when we saw that first interaction between you and the defendant and on the boat, what time was that?
That's 2016, was 8:16.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
8:16 p.m.
That's when you first started talking with him about where his body's going to be?
Correct.
showing council states 1L for identification. Lieutenant, I'm showing you states 1L for identification. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this an enlarged photocopy of the actual written statement that the defendant gave to you that we just saw the body worn camera footage of?
Yes, ma'am.
I move states 1L for identification and evidence.
Standing objection to this subject
Yes,
matter.
sir. Over objection.
1L, marked for identification, becomes State Exhibit 102.
102.
Two.
Is there a place for the defendant to sign signifying that the information here is true?
Yes, ma'am.
Where? Right where my finger is?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you please read for us the information that the defendant wrote down that he swore was true?
Going back to Ocean ORC through channel, past boat on left side by my boat, vessel to the right to avoid big waves. Coming back into wave, I lost control of steering wheel as boat was going through the big waves. I was ejected from the boat. In the back of the boat, I saw Mia and Sarah, my wife Ceci next to me, and the others in the front of the boat. I believe we were traveling at 40 to 45 RPM. I've owned the boat since early 2020. I swam to Lucy and stayed until boat came. Then I stayed looking for others inside the boat.
Record I'm showing counsel now states 5I for identification. Lieutenant, I'm showing you now states 5I for identification. You indicated something about on the back of the form, something was going to be drafted.
Yeah, seating chart.
Okay, and does this show both the front and the back of the original?
Yes, ma'am.
So at this time, Judge, the state would move states 5I for identification and evidence.
Any objections?
Same objection.
I didn't know what kind of objections.
5I, marked for ID, becomes State Exhibit 103.
Lieutenant, did you actually get to witness with your own eyes as the defendant was filling this out?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you be able to explain to the jurors what the various writings on here
Yes, ma'am.
were done?
Give me a second.
This is your picture of a boat.
Yes,
How long have you been boating?
almost all my life.
Okay. Can you walk us through, what was it that the defendant was explaining to you with this diagram?
I asked him to use initials, first name and last name of people that were on the boat. The goal was trying to find the actual scene chart where everybody was on the boat and see if he had any limits of it. So as you can see, he put GP for himself for Pino, CP for Ceci Pino for his wife. In the back he has Mia and Sarah. Then up here he gets KP and CP, Coco and Kasi.
About 2 days after your interaction with George Pino at Elliott Key, was it the case that that boat that was involved in this crash was salvaged from the water?
It was.
Did you, after it was salvaged from the water, conduct what's known as an inventory search of that vessel?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to the jurors, what is an inventory search?
Inventory search are used to find any valuables, watches, high valuable things, to make sure they're on the boat. We're looking for safety gear. We have the consent to search, so we're looking through personal belongings, hatches, the GPSs, the engines, trying to figure out what happened on that day.
In the course of that search, did you take photographs of the vessel?
Yes, ma'am.
The record I'm showing council states 5J, 5M, and 5K. Lieutenant, showing you states 5J, 5M, and 5K. Do these fairly and accurately depict the vessel once it had been salvaged and you were conducting your inventory search?
Yes, ma'am.
The state removed the aforementioned exhibits into evidence.
Subject to prior objection, Judge.
Over objection.
C5J, marked for ID, becomes State Exhibit 104. 5M, State Exhibit 105, and 5N, 106. 5K, 106.
I'm sorry. what?
5J, 104, 5M, 105, 5K, 106.
All right, Lieutenant, with the court's permission, you can step down and
Yes.
first off, as to exhibit 105. Can you explain to the members of the jury, what is this photograph depicting?
That is a picture of the helm or the steering wheel, the throttle bar. There's two empty holes here where the GPS units were. This will be depicting where the operator was sitting during the operation vessel.
Lieutenant, I think you're aware that yesterday our jurors got a chance to actually see this vessel.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you there when that happened?
Yes, ma'am.
And so were the jurors able to actually see for themselves what the operator's eye view would be from the helm?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's basically what you're depicting here?
Yes, ma'am.
In terms of state's exhibits numbers 104 and 106, can you explain to the jurors what we're looking at here?
The front of the center console of the vessel.
Now, if there are a couple of people walking in front of the vessel in that bow area, is it roomy? Is it spacious?
Okay, not much for all to move around.
Well, I'm gonna ask you if we have evidence here in state's exhibit number 11 that in the seat that's designated number 9 is the name Lucy.
Yes, ma'am.
Using state's exhibit number 106, would you be able to corroborate or show where seat number 9 that says Lucy, where would that be on this?
So we right here on the center, right on the center console on this padded seat.
So if I write the name Lucy right here, would that be accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's enough. Lieutenant, in addition to actually photographing the vessel itself, did you photograph the contents of anything that was recovered from that vessel?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing council states 5N, 5O, 5P, and 5Q for identification. Do states exhibits 5N, 5O, and 5P depict a location where items of alcoholic containers were recovered from, and the items themselves?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I would move the aforementioned exhibits into evidence.
Subject to fire protection. You need to require protection.
5N, mark for identification, becomes state exhibit 107. 5O, 108. 5P, 109.
Lieutenant, if you could step down again, please. Okay, Lieutenant, so in the back part of the vessel, behind where the helm would be, there appears to be a place where there's two round hatches. Well, can you describe what that is?
It's a wash station. They usually have a hose on this left little pole here, and the other one's usually used for trash.
And did you look in the area where the trash would be, if there was anything in there?
Yes, ma'am.
In state's exhibit number 108, is that the top of what you saw when you opened that trash hatch?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you empty that hatch?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you photograph what was in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Does states 109 depict the items that were in that place?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you in a position to say that Lucy Fernandez drank all this alcohol?
No.
Do you remember exactly how many alcohol containers were recovered from that?
61.
And I wanted to ask you also, there are two exhibits that were already admitted into evidence as states exhibits numbers 20 and 21. Do you remember seeing these on the vessel?
Yes, ma'am.
Were these other alcohol containers that were recovered from the vessel?
Yes, ma'am.
What are they?
Looks like a type of champagne. You know, the port.
And just FYI, if you wanted to see those pictures, I have posted them on my Facebook page. I did it on Thursday. Did it yesterday, I believe, the 13th or Wednesday. I'm not sure. Anyways, you can go to my Facebook page. I posted it up on there. Just the pictures of the alcohol and the trash. I don't have a picture of the Chambord or the champagne, but you get the gist of it.
Additionally, did you recover some flares that were on the defendant's vessel?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing you State's Exhibit number 5Q. Is this a photograph of the flares you recovered?
Yes, ma'am.
I would move 5Q for identification and evidence.
Objection.
Without objection.
5Q, micro identification becomes State Exhibit 110.
Forgive me, subject to the prior objection.
Yes, sir.
This might sound obvious, but what are flares for on your vessels?
Signaling for distress.
What do you do if your boat becomes disabled and you have flares?
We shoot off the flares. It'll create a large bulb in the sky, bright in color, so other boaters can see it. And it's known around the boating community that that's a sign of distress and that people need help.
What was the expiration date on these flares?
October 20th of 19.
2019?
Yes,
When did you get this?
2022.
Well, I remember that you asked the defendant if he had all the safety equipment that he needed on his vessel.
I did.
Would this be considered safety equipment?
It would.
Is it safe if it's expired?
No.
All right. I'm not sure what she's trying to go there. So I don't know if you've ever seen, but there's like videos of like the police who go out on your boat, right? If you're operating your boat, they can go on and do a safety check. And I've seen where like people's flares and stuff are expired and like, okay, you need to take care of that. Sometimes they write them a ticket or sometimes just give them a warning. Should you always check your stuff? Yes. Do we always do that? No. Is that part of the crime? I don't think so. But you decide whether or not you think that that is important.
Judge, this might be a good time.
Did he lie about the flares and therefore he's guilty?
In the testimony, if that's all right with the court.
Okay, could you keep going to the subject?
Correct.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Let's talk about
All right, they're going to take a break. We aren't. I want to see if we can try to get through this witness. I don't know. This might be the witness of the day. So we're just going to zoom. This is the the timestamp says it's a 6-hour thing. We're going to cut it down because we're zooming through things. They're arguing some stuff. We're not going to go through the arguments. We're just here for the testimony. And why? Because we're behind and we're trying to do what we can to move through it quickly.
During the playing of the body-worn camera evidence from Lieutenant Thompson, there was a technical issue with regard to what is essentially the second statement in the conversation between Mr. Pino and Lieutenant Thompson. That technical issue has been resolved. It was what you might have been reading on the transcripts was actually not heard on the video. So that's been corrected, and what's going to happen now is the corrected statement is going to be played for you. And there'll be a few questions about that. The transcript can be handed out again. It should be number 2 transcript. Oh, no, wait, it's number 2 transcript,
Yes.
right? Okay, number 2 transcript. Now, I remind you, the transcript is not the evidence. The evidence is the video, the audio and the video, okay? In addition, let me remind you that what the lawyer is asking their questions is not the evidence. The evidence comes from physical evidence and or testimony of the witnesses.
Lawyers asking questions aren't evidence, only the answers and the evidence that comes in.
Your Honor, may the lieutenant step down while this is playing?
Or the FWC. I do all voting actions that are serious. Anytime someone says someone gets lighted, that's what I know. So, right now, no update, my office is investigating. So, no update on it. They all went to the same spot, right? My office, but it's that, we'll give an update, so like, asking them. They will do a response, they'll have action on. So, like, I should about 10, 15 minutes away. Everyone is away. Oh, that's good. Bro, on the rolls? Or they're over there? There's some there. Oh, there's some over there. Let's, no, there's no more. All of the girls are fine. The roll should be fine. So, right now, last I had an update, was conscious, just like that last number. I was on the button from Oliver Sandler. So, someone told me that the video that was on the camera. She was there, I don't know what my wife I'm still getting all the pieces that she was
Lieutenant, I want to ask you if during this time, did any kind of issue about alcohol come up? Okay.
Can we get a pause, Your Honor?
Just pause for a minute.
Sure.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is the portion that was not played before. And the question was asked, a question about alcohol, and this wasn't played for you before. All right, and this is the evidence.
It's not even a road drive. It's not even drinking a couple years ago.
She'll proceed to her way that I'm not listening. I don't know.
You're allowed to drink alcohol and drive a boat. There's not consent. We'll come back to this. See if that okay? I need to get up. Okay. Hey, well, what do you guys gonna be fire rescue? Playing pretty good for like gashes. Although he's playing pretty good for gashes. Although, what do you guys are grabbing? Fire rescue? Yeah, we're attached to the boat. She also talking about you. I'm gonna fire rescue. Yeah, if you guys question, I want you're heavy breathing. I want you to sit down. I want you to fall over. Okay. Sit down. No, I understand. I've heard that shallow breathing before. I've seen people fall over, and the last thing I need is for you to fall over these rocks. So take a seat for me, right? So these all your daughters. Is your daughter on the boat? That's your daughter right there. Okay. And all their work friends. It's my daughter.
Celebration. Hang back. What do you actually have about the last one?
We're at estimate how much. How many times have you done that? How many hours do you have on the kitchen?
Your Honor,
Yeah, on the boat. How many hours, put hours, how many hours behind?
so I think that resolved the issue of the missing portion.
Yes, that was what was included. All right, we'll continue on.
Pardon?
So we're gonna conclude that.
Thank you.
So Lieutenant, up to now, we've talked about the fact that you spoke with George Pino on the evening of September 4th of 2022. And we talked about the inventory of the vessel that was done once it was salvaged from the bottom of the bay, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's talk now a little bit about something that occurred on June the 9th of last year. Did you and other people involved in law enforcement try to think of a way to explain or express to the jury what the defendant's driving pattern, for lack of a better term, was through the Cutter Bank Channel on the afternoon of September 4th, 2022?
Yes, ma'am. We conducted a reconstruction as close as we could.
Prior to doing the reconstruction, were any thoughts given about trying to actually bring the jurors through on the channel?
There were thoughts.
And,
Objection, Your Honor.
Too dangerous to bring the jury out there.
okay. What was the overall plan to try to show the jury as accurately as possible the route that the defendant's vessel took on that afternoon up to leading to it actually hitting a channel marker?
Yes, on May 30th, ASA Adams reached out to me asking if this was even a possibility. Told him that logistically there's going to be a lot of moving parts to get this done, specifically around safety reasons. So we had to make sure we had safety vessels to block off channels. We had to make sure the weather was right that day, the right individuals were there, that we had access to Key Biscayne's airfield. It's a state park, so no drones could be flown. So we had to talk to the FAA for the drones. There was a lot of moving parts for it.
Could you explain to the jurors what the idea was in terms of how this path would be recreated?
So we had the GPS data from the units that were on the defendant's vessel that showed certain track marks and speed that the vessel was operating on September 4th. So we used multiple buoys as points of speed increase or direction change towards the channel marker.
So if there was a track point, say, that indicated that the defendant was going 43 miles per hour, is there a way using GPS to put the buoy like really close to where that track point is?
Yes, ma'am. We used a certified handheld GPS following the exact coordinates from the units from the vessel to match it to the exact spot that we were going to drop the buoy.
Okay. And then in this particular case, were there two last track marks or track points from the defendant's vessel up until it crashed into that channel marker?
There was.
And did a buoy get placed in each of the locations where those last two track points were?
Yes, ma'am.
And so what was the idea behind piloting a vessel past those buoys, which represented the track points?
The idea was to video record so we could show the jury of the points of acceleration that the GPS showed. So the first buoy was a signal for me to accelerate from one speed to another, while also maintaining a certain track from one buoy to the next. The second buoy was the last buoy prior to the collision with the channel marker.
Now, the second to last track point, can you describe where within the channel that would have been?
Between channel marker 13A and 13.
Okay. And where was the last buoy or the buoy that represented the last track mark prior to impact?
It was right next to channel marker 15.
Now, in order to try to recreate this, did you have available a police vessel?
I did.
What was the size of that police vessel?
30 feet,
What was the size of the Robalo vessel that was salvaged from the bay in this case?
29 feet,
What were the engines that were on the vessel that was used for this?
2 300 horsepower Yamaha engines.
What kind of engines were on the Robalo in this case?
2 300 horsepower Yamaha engines.
Did it seem that your police vessel was a comparable vessel to show the jurors what took place on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to get the police vessel accelerated up to 43 miles per hour at that first buoy?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you then accelerate the vessel to about 47 miles per hour right before you got to that second buoy?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been piloting vessels?
Since I was a young child.
How many times have you piloted toward a steel marker?
Not on purpose.
Okay. Can you talk to the jurors a little bit about what the experience was like trying to recreate a path that you know in real life resulted in the destruction we saw of that vessel in photographs in yesterday? What did you do to manage that?
Objection, reserve motion.
So,
Okay, hold on. Objection is overruled. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So with those two markers that we spoke about earlier, the first one is to the start getting to a speed of 43 miles an hour. The second channel buoy that we placed is right next to channel marker 15. We had to take in consideration that if I were to take the exact same route, it was near impossible for me to evade that channel marker.
Okay. Before engaging in this reenactment, for lack of a better term, did you have any alcohol to drink?
No, ma'am.
Did you have any minors on the boat with you?
No, ma'am.
Now, did you make several passes through that channel?
Yes, ma'am.
And was there a drone involved?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to show you an exhibit. It's not in evidence, it's a demonstrative aid. It's a State's Exhibit 2I. This is not scientific. My channel drawing is as good as your boat drawing, but does this represent kind of the tail end of the Clutter Bank channel?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you be able to use this pen and kind of like show us in cartoon figures almost the route that you basically were taking?
Yes, ma'am.
Where the squiggly line is, does that represent the route that you were taking?
Yes, ma'am.
The jurors saw the video already, so we know the path it was taken. I don't know why she's making crude drawings.
I'm showing you exhibits that are in evidence. It states 23 and 22. Do these accurately depict what channel markers 14 and 15 look like?
Yes, ma'am.
What were the wind and I guess sea conditions like when this was done?
Very favorable. Low winds, very slight chop, very small waves on the water.
Was that similar to the weather conditions on the afternoon of September 4th, 2022, Biscayne Bay in the vicinity of Clutter Bank?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you an exhibit which is in evidence now, as State's Exhibit number 11. And now I'm going to show you an exhibit which is State's 106. Now, in State's Exhibit 11, there is a seat which is designated as number 9, and there's a name attached to that. What is that name?
Lucy.
May I have that, please? And Your Honor, may the witness step down, please? So if what we're looking at here in exhibit number 11 is a diagram of the seating arrangements of Mr. Pino's vessel on September 2022. And if what we're looking at here in State's Exhibit number 106 is an actual photograph of where it says Lucy, would that correspond to where we are looking at Lucy homicide?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, because, I guess if we do it this way, that would be how we would know that this location is where Lucy was seated. Fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, no, here's the three bed seat. So this is the 3 bed seats here. And a prior witness identified that Lucy was seated here. I'd like to ask if during this process of trying to recreate for the jury a sense of what the defendant's vessel was doing prior to and at impact, was there somebody who actually sat in seat 9, the seat that was identified as the seat that Lucy had been in, filming from that vantage point where the vessel was traveling?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you seen that video?
Yes, ma'am.
For the record, I'm showing counsel's, oh, no, it's already in evidence, state's number 98. Earlier, did you get a chance to look at this?
Yes, ma'am.
And you put your initials on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, at this time, I publish this exhibit.
I'm thinking this is the reenactment,
Over those objections?
not actual video footage from one of the girls.
Lieutenant, would you be able to come down for the
Yes.
explanation? I'm gonna stop this a couple of times and then replay it from the beginning, but we're heading down the channel, and I'm gonna stop this and ask you kind of where we're at.
Yes, ma'am.
What channel marker is that?
Be 13. 13A?
Take a close look.
13A.
Okay. What's this right here?
That's our first GPS buoy.
And what does that represent?
It's reaching that at 43 miles an hour. That is the moment where I start to accelerate to 47 miles an hour.
And is this buoy in just about the same location as that second to last track point before the vessel strikes the channel marker?
Yes, ma'am.
When I'm pointing to here with my pen, what is that?
That's the second GPS buoy.
Okay. And this represents the last track point prior to impact?
Yes, ma'am.
Lieutenant, what is this channel marker there?
Green marker 15.
You're quite a ways away from it.
Yes, ma'am.
We can see it already?
Yes, ma'am.
Cameraman, what are you doing? Get back.
Last thing I want to ask you about was yesterday. Our jurors came and examined the robalo at your office, just in front of the office building, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, prior to them viewing the boat, did you stand next to the boat and point to two locations on that vessel?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 68. And if the witness can step down, please, Judge.
Yes.
Can you use this exhibit to point out the two locations that you pointed to for the jurors?
The first point is right here. The second point right here.
Can you explain to the jurors what you were pointing out?
Up here, I'm pointing out what we call the paint transfer from the green day board that was on top of marker 15 as the initial impact point.
And you pointed to a second location.
Here.
What is that?
Secondary impact point.
And why were you, what was there that let you know that?
The extreme amount of damage that started from this point.
And in fact, was the paint transfer there as well? Showing council states 5S and 5T. Do exhibits 5S and 5T represent the two locations of paint transfer that you just described?
Yes, ma'am.
I would move states 5S and 5T for identification and evidence.
5S, marked for identification, non-states exhibit 112, 5T, 113.
I'm sorry, 113.
113.
And in my right hand, I have the paint transfer at the front of the bow of the boat.
Yes, ma'am.
And on my left hand, I have the paint transfer that was in the middle part of the boat.
Yes, ma'am.
I have no other questions.
All right, now we're at cross-examination. Oh, sidebar. Sidebar. Let's zoom, zoom, zoom. Uh-oh, spinny wheel. All right. You know, I'm going to start to go, and then I'm going to have to go forward and go backwards and go forward and go backwards.
Any statement or any conclusion by the witness.
Okay, let's go back to see what the... I want to hear what the judge's instruction is. I think it's very important.
Counsel, before you start the cross-examination, ladies and gentlemen, during the course of the direct examination of the witness, there was a question asked of the witness, and the response from the witness was that, he used the word dangerous in his response. I overruled the defense objection. That objection should have been sustained. You would disregard any statement or any conclusion by the witness with the use of the word dangerous in terms of what he has done. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Thompson.
Good afternoon.
Lieutenant, you indicated that during your interviews and interactions with Mr. Pino that there was no detection on your part. You did not observe any signs of impairment by alcohol. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
The first time. At the point that you had your first interaction with Mr. Pino, however, approximately 2 hours had passed since the accident in this case. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So to be more specific, the accident is, occurred sometime around 6:37 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the first time that you had contact with Mr. Pino was at 8:16 p.m. according to your testimony today. Does that sound right?
Yes, sir.
So almost 2 hours later. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Would you not agree that that the persons who were with Mr. Pino closer in time to the point of the accident, 6:37, that their impressions as to Mr. Pino's whether Mr. Pino appeared to be impaired by alcohol or not would be important to know?
Yes, sir.
And if such persons that observed Mr. Pino at the time closest to the accident were to say that they didn't detect or didn't observe anything about Mr. Pino that would have indicated alcohol impairment, that would be valuable for this jury to know. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
As well as witnesses to Mr. Pino's state of mind or physical state while he was actually at the sandbar in this case. Witnesses at the sandbar with Mr. Pino who were able to say there was no evidence of impairment by alcohol with Mr. Pino, that also would be important for this jury to know. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Particularly if those witnesses did not observe any evidence of alcohol impairment. You would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir.
We heard earlier today that when you had your first opportunity to have interaction with Mr. Pino, that was at the seawall at Elliott Key Harbor. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pino was on a police boat. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
In fact, he was on a police boat with one of your members of your crew that day, Keith Fernandez. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And when you are asking Mr. Pino some basic background questions about his boat during that interaction, Mr. Pino answered those questions, correct?
Yes, sir.
But he also offered an explanation, his memory about how this accident occurred, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I just wanted to go through slowly with you. We have the benefit of the transcript that was prepared for the jury. And Mr. Pino says that we were coming through the channel. Of course, he's referring to Cutter Bank Channel. Was that your understanding at the time?
Yes, sir.
Then there were two girls sitting in the back. A boat was coming. We were going by the little, and then you interrupt him and say, you leave the boat in the water at Ocean Reef, or is it at a trailer at Ocean Reef? That's all that you were interested in at that moment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But Mr. Pino continues with his answer. He tells you, no, it's in the water. So anyways, I turned back to look because there were two girls sitting in the back seat of the boat. And I had 5 or 6 in the front, my wife in the middle, and we were coming, and I approached the waves head first, like I always do. And the boat hit. I was looking at the girls, and just to make sure they were okay if they were sitting in the back. And the next thing I know, it hit the wave, and I tried to swing, and the right side of the boat would be the left side of the boat hit the pylon. My God, I can't believe it. You recall him telling you that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pino was telling you that in his memory of the way the accident occurred, as a part of that, he believes that the left side of his boat made contact with the pylon.
Objection, calls for speculation.
This is what he told you.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna go rule as to what was said.
But Judge,
Go ahead. Only
That in fact is not the case though, correct? The
Correct.
left side of Mr. Pino's boat did not make contact with the pylon in this case, did it?
No, sir.
In fact, we know just from the pictures presented in this case. As we saw in State's Exhibit number 68, very clearly, damage happens to the right side of the boat. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that's not a mystery in this case, is it? That's not in dispute here, right?
No, sir.
But at least when Mr. Pino had that initial interaction with you, it was his belief, his memory at that moment, that actually it was the left side.
objection.
that's the stage. What was Pino's belief was or wasn't.
You go on, you ask him if he has a trailer for the boat, and he tells you that the boat goes back to Ocean Reef, et cetera, and so on. There's then another opportunity that you have to speak with Mr. Pino, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Because after you had your initial interaction with him while he was at the seawall on Officer Alex's boat, you went because you needed to make some phone calls, is that right?
Yes, sir.
In connection with the accident scene that you were working, or the accident investigation that you were working, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you came back, you had a further conversation with him. And you tell Mr. Pino, Mr. Pino says to you, someone told me that, well, the other girl that was on there, Cammie, she's over there. She was there on the boat with my wife when the other girl was getting airlifted. And you reply, see, I'm still getting all the pieces. See, I'm still getting all the pieces. Pino, she said that she was getting CPR. You respond, I don't know about that yet. So first thing I'm going to do, talk to you about, there's a boating accident, a serious injury. And Mr. Pino, then there was some conversation between you, Mr. Pino, about alcohol, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Pino says to you, in response, he says, you know, I had 2 beers. You recall him saying that?
Yes, sir.
And your response to that was, and it's not illegal to boat and drive. It's not illegal to drink a beer or a couple of beers and drive. And that's a true statement, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Pino says, I feel perfect in the way my mind was. I mean, I know what happened. I've been operating boats forever. I've done that ride 1,000 times. Do you know if Mr. Pino has done that ride 1,000 times?
I do not know.
Do you know if it's true?
I do not know if that's true.
Did you ever examine or become aware of the data examination of the GPS devices in Mr. Pino's boat?
Yes, sir.
Did either of the historic track points or in either of the GPS devices reflect thousands of rides through the Cutter Bank Channel?
No, I do not.
So this was Mr. Pino's memory.
Objection.
Sustained.
The GPS devices did not bear out Mr. Pino's statement that he had been through the Cutter Channel thousands of times. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you reply to that and you say, you're allowed to drink alcohol and drive a boat. And this is what you told him, right?
Yes, sir.
And again, that is a true statement, right?
Yes, sir.
And during this conversation, further, Mr. Pino takes the opportunity, after following some additional conversation between the two of you, he takes the opportunity to tell you again about what his recollection, what his memory is of how the accident occurred. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Pino says, that was my wife and myself, right? And then 2 girls were on the back, and the rest of the girls in the front in the seating area. And then we were going through the last marker. There was a boat coming through, which was bigger. So the waves, I was veering to the right to cut into the waves. You say, okay. Mr. Pino continues, right, like I always do, cut right through the waves. And I knew I was going to hit some waves. I looked back at the 2 girls that were sitting back there because I was a little concerned. I told my wife, watch. It was I even remember exactly who it was. It was Coco. Pretty sure it was Coco and Andrea. You recall him giving you that answer?
Yes, sir.
Now, Coco, he was referring to someone by the name of Coco Aguilar, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Andrea, he was referring to someone known as Andrea Knopfler, correct?
Yes, sir.
And both Coco Aguilar and Andrea Knopfler, they were passengers on Mr. Pino's boat at the time that this accident occurred.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Pino was telling you that he even remembers exactly who was sitting behind him, again saying it was Coco and Andrea. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, that turned out not to be true. Is that right?
Objection, call for hearsay.
Did you conducted a further investigation in the days and months leading or after this accident, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you determined who, in fact, of the passengers were sitting in the back of the boat, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And did your investigation reveal that it was Sarah Gutierrez?
Objection, this is hearsay.
Your investigation did not reveal that Coco Aguilar and Andrea Knopfler were sitting in the back of the boat.
Objection, it's hearsay.
Exhibit number 11. So I'm handing you exhibit number 11. Now, you recall, in fact, that exhibit number 11 was the boating diagram that was presented to the various passengers in this case in order to develop the seating chart of the seating chart of the passengers as they sat on Mr. Pino's boat on the day of this accident, correct?
Yes, sir.
And if you would, referring to exhibit number 11, what did your investigation reveal as to who was sitting in the back of the boat?
Objection, Judge, that's not what exhibit 11 demonstrates.
Was it introduced?
Yes.
Yes, but it was not from the detective, it was the words of the other witnesses.
It says Sarah and Mia.
Not Coco and Andrea.
Correct.
So Mr. Pino gave you mistaken information when he said that Coco and Andrea were behind him. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pino goes on, and he tells you, speeding up a bit, he says, so I turned around and I said, hey guys, watch out, hold on, because I'm cutting into the waves and you guys are on the back, and if you bump around, they were right on the back. There was a seat at the back of the boat, and as soon as I said it, I was cutting through the wave and I looked, and the wheel, I guess when it hit the waves, the wheel turned a little bit, turned a little bit as I was cutting back in, and I lost a little bit control, and I think I turned, okay, and it was I'm pretty sure it was the left side of the boat that skimmed the left side of the boat, probably towards the front to try to turn away from it. So again, Mr. Pino tells you that it was the left side of the boat that made contact. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And he goes on to say, and the boat hit the left front boat, and then we all got ejected. Do you know if Mr. Pino's statement to you that, quote unquote, they all got ejected, or I'm sorry, that we all got ejected, was true?
Objection, calls for hearsay.
Do you know if Mr. Pino's statement that, quote, we all got ejected was an accurate statement?
Objection, Judge.
You asked Mr. Pino, once you get ejected, when you came up, what did you see that you can remember? Mr. Pino says that I know exactly what I saw. It's because I'm having a problem. I'm having a problem recalling because it was very scary. I got up, so I know I couldn't believe what had happened. I saw a few people floating. I yelled. I recognized some of them. They said, all right, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And then I immediately went under the boat to see if anyone was there. Do you recall him telling you that?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall asking Mr. Pino, do you remember who was under there, referring to the boat? And Mr. Pino responded, I'm very clear who was under there, and I got her. And you asked Mr. Pino, what was her name? Do you remember what Mr. Pino told you?
I have to look at my notes.
Mr. Pino told you it was Nati Reed. Does that sound right to you?
Yes, sir.
And we, of course, are here in this trial because it wasn't Nati Reed who was under the boat, right?
Correct.
you know who was under the boat?
Objection, Judge, calls for speculation.
Repeat the question, please.
Do you know who was under the boat?
Objection, calls for speculation.
Repeat the question.
Sure. Lucy Fernandez was under the boat, wasn't she?
Objection, calls for speculation.
Repeat the question, please.
Not sure I understand the,
Come over here, please.
Sure.
Explain to me.
I guess there's like it's a hearsay thing. I guess it's a hearsay thing. That's why he can't answer. I mean, eventually he knows that Lucy was under the boat. I think just the way he's asking to form. Well, this seems to be a lengthy sidebar. Okay, here we go.
All right. Counsel? Thank you. You may
Thanks.
proceed.
Thank you. At any time after the accident, did you interview Nancy Reed?
I'd have to go through my notes.
You know anyone from you or your agency or any other agency that interviewed Nancy Reed after the accident?
I would have to go through my notes.
Now, your conversation with Mr. Pino continued on later after that noon, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And at the time that you asked Mr. Pino if he would write a statement as to his, what happened, he agreed to do that. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you had conversations between the two of you regarding any number of things that you thought would be appropriate to place in the statement. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that you asked Mr. Pino about was how fast he was going. If you remember what his speed was.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right? And Mr. Pino mentioned to you, first he said 39 RPMs, 38, 39 RPMs, and RPMs means what?
Rotations per minute.
And when you're on a boat like Mr. Pino's, it's very common that the screen on many of these boats kind of shows what your speed is based on rotations per minute, RPMs, correct?
Yes, sir.
So if the RPMs are 39 RPMs, for example, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going 39 miles per hour on a boat. Is that right?
Correct.
Because there are many variants with speed on a boat, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, we discussed that with Mr. Pino because he was asking you, what does 39 RPMs correspond to miles per hour? You remember that conversation?
Yes, sir.
And you were telling Mr. Pino that, just as we said, it could be everything. It could be propeller that had 14 people on the boat. These are some of the variables which would affect speed. Remember that conversation?
Yes, sir.
One of the things that Mr. Pino offered was that he said he had a lot of weight on the boat, and that he said, quote, I have two engines, two 225s. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And when he said 225s, he was referring to the size of the engines on his boat.
Objection, calls for speculation.
Did you, the engines that were on Mr. Pino's boat, the boat that was involved in the accident had two 300 horsepower engines. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Twin 300s.
Yes, sir.
Do you know if Mr. Pino ever owned a boat prior to the boat that was involved in this accident?
No, sir.
You did notice when you began your interview with Mr. Pino that he did have his head wrapped in a gauze bandage. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you know why it was that his head was wrapped in a gauze bandage?
I did not.
Suspect some head injury?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Pino, in fact,
Wait, there's a video of him when he was on the boat did he not see that he had a head injury and that blood was going down, or did at that time he have it wrapped? I guess it doesn't really make a difference, but
Prepared the written statement for you that you asked for. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's in evidence now, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pino also told you, as we know, what his memory was as to how the accident happened. We just went all through that. Did you follow up with any type of investigation to determine if Mr. Pino's memory about another boat contributing to the cause of the accident occurred?
I did.
And what did you do in order to determine if there was another boat that contributed to this accident?
Multiple different things.
I'm sorry, you can voice up, sir.
Multiple different things.
Such as, Lieutenant, what did you do?
We spoke to Good Samaritans that were very first on scene. There was a picture taken by a Good Samaritan that showed the northbound aspect of the boating accident. We contacted other agencies, seeing if there were cameras in the area. We interviewed the passengers on the vessel.
And did you find anything in all of that which corroborated Mr. Pino's memory as to whether there was another boat?
Objection hearsay.
Oh, no.
No.
You mentioned a picture taken by a Good Samaritan. How was that helpful to you in coming to the conclusion?
The photograph shows an image of the vessel that the defendant was operating capsized. I believe it's 3 minutes post-accident time. I'll have to verify my notes if that's exact time. And it shows a northbound view of Key Biscayne with no vessels in sight.
And you said it was approximately 3 minutes after the accident?
I would have to look at my notes, but around that time frame.
Could it have been as soon as 2.5 minutes after the accident?
Could have been.
And the picture that you were referring to was a wide enough view so that you were comfortable that any boat that might have fit the description that Mr. Pino gave would still have been within the picture frame.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant,
okay, I'm not sure about that question. I'm not. So you asked people, you looked at this picture that was taken just after a couple of minutes after the accident, and there was no other camera in sight, but this view shows no vessel. That's not good for you, defense, if that's what he's claiming. So usually you wouldn't ask that. First of all, you wouldn't ask it if you didn't know the answer already. And secondly, you wouldn't ask that question if it was going to be detrimental to your client. So I'm not sure where they're going with this. Let's continue.
One of the things that was recovered 2 days after the accident were some empty alcoholic beverage containers. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that was when the boat was actually recovered out of the water. There was an inspection done of the boat.
Yes, sir.
And that's where these things were discovered. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you testified earlier today that there were 61 empty alcoholic beverage containers.
Yes, sir. To my memory.
The defense made a big argument that Mrs. Pino would pick up stuff, but they didn't really ask her that.
Lieutenant, were you a part of the recovery team of the boat on the 6th?
Objection, that doesn't be on scope of direct.
Just a question.
All right, hold on, one question.
Sure, I think that's all I need. Were you a part of the recovery team?
I was at the dock that day.
While the clerk is looking for the exhibit, I wanted to ask some questions about your reenactment that you did on June 9th, 2025. Do you recall, I received a, let me ask you this, do you recall what time it was that the actual reenactment was done?
I have to look at my notes.
Do you have your notes with you?
I do.
Why don't you take a look at those?
Oh, sorry. What time was the reenactment? I want to know.
Around 8:47 a.m.
What, 8:47 a.m., is that when the actual runs with the vessel were done?
I don't have that report with me. That was the time frame that we started doing runs, but I don't know the full time frame of how long.
The group of persons that were going to be involved met at Bayfront Marina at about 8 a.m. that day, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so you're saying that about 8:47, you guys were out at the location,
Yes, sir.
and that's when the activity began, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what the tide was, the tide phase at that time?
I do.
What was it?
It was a plus 1.75.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Plus 1.75.
Then I want to show you one of the drone aerial footage that was taken on that day. That's it. Take a look at that.
Yes, sir.
Before we look at the video, as I understand it, your testimony earlier was that you tried to follow the historic track that Mr. Pino's vessel took on the day of this accident as you possibly could. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the track that you followed was, based on the information that you took off or that you received from Mr. Pino's actual SIMRAD GPS device. Is that right?
The information was given to Paul Adler. Yes.
All right. And you were able to, it was actually you that was navigating or that was driving the test boat?
Yes, sir.
And you had that information, I presume, on the screen in front of you, the historic track, so that you could kind of steer on that. Is that right?
Mr. Adler did.
You said, was Mr.
Adler, sorry.
Albert was driving the boat?
No, he was present.
Okay. My question though was that how was it that you were able to drive on close to the same track Mr. Pino drove?
He set the GPS buoys himself and instructed me to follow the buoys from one buoy to the next.
Understood. And that was based on the historic tracks that were present on Mr. Pino's SIMRAD device?
Yes.
And you are comfortable, or you were convinced that the buoys that Mr. Albert set up for you are consistent with the actual course that Mr. Pino drove on the day of this accident? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Carlos, if you would call up S1001384. Yard may Lieutenant Thompson come down.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna play this through one time and we'll ask some questions about it. Prior to hold up a second. Prior to viewing this, you and I met today, and you authenticated for me that this video that you're about to see is an accurate representation of what took place that day. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do we have what exhibit number this is?
Yeah, it's 97. Thank you. Once you start. So this is the vessel that you were operating?
Yes, sir.
And just for sake of the record, what we're looking at here is the part of the Cutter Bank channel, correct?
Yes, sir.
And can you see what I'm pointing at the channel marker? Do you know what channel marker that is?
13A.
I'm pointing at another one with the red triangle.
14.
And the final channel marker that I'm pointing at?
15.
15 is the channel marker that was aligned with it, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Continue. Let's run that back again. Lieutenant Thompson, where your vessel appears at that moment, the 18-second timestamp, you're just 13 days just to the left side of your vessel, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, there's plenty of space between your vessel and the 13-8 channel marker.
Yes, sir.
Continue, please. Stop there. Now, at this point, just past the 13-8 channel marker, you are still within the Cutter Bay channel, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And would you consider that the location of your vessel at that point is somewhere in the center of the Cutter Bay channel?
Yes, sir.
Continue. Hold there. And as your vessel is continuing now, that is more in line with the left side of the channel, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if there are no oncoming boats present in that condition, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's because the area has been essentially quarantined by other police vessels, is that right?
Yes, sir.
There were no oncoming boats, as you said earlier, there's no oncoming boats at the time of the accident, and Mr. Pino was involved, is that right?
Objection.
Sustained.
And you are past channel marker 15 at that point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you were able to avoid aligning with channel marker 15, obviously, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the reason that you were able to avoid aligning is because you were focused entirely on that channel. Correct. The very purpose that you were there was to conduct this experiment that you did, is that right?
Yes, sir.
It's reenactment, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so that's all that you were focused on, right?
I'm focused on all my surroundings along the water, making sure I'm not hitting the other channel markers, making sure the water depths are good, that my passengers are safe. I'm not just focused on that.
Sure, but because you were completely focused, as you said, on all of these things, you were able to approach that channel marker 15 at close to or at the same rate that Mr. Pino was able to, that Mr. Pino approached that, but you managed to avoid colliding with it, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's because you saw it in front of you,
Yes, sir.
correct? You saw it even before you got to the channel marker itself, is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
And you were able to make a decision as you got closer to it, to the turn, or in your case, you turned slightly to the left in order to avoid the collision, right?
Yes, sir.
And but for the fact that you were not distracted by anything else, you were able to safely get around channel marker 15, correct?
Yes, sir.
I thought those are good questions. You didn't run into it because you were reenacting it and making sure you were focused straight in there. Saying that, what?
You mentioned earlier in response to my question about the tide that was present. Tide, T-I-D-E. You answered my question about the tide that was present at the time that you conducted this recreation. Do you know what station that tide was measured from?
No, sir.
And I ask because, of course, different stations will have different tide levels. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So what the tide might be in downtown Miami isn't necessarily what the tide is going to be in Coconut Grove, for example.
It'll be pretty close based on the area, but it will be different.
Okay. And I believe you said that the tide, as you recall, was plus 1.75. Was that it?
Yes, sir.
And that means exactly what?
There's a standard level that the sea level's at, and it goes up and down from there. So plus 1.75 would be 1 foot, 0.1 and 0.75 feet above that standard level.
And was that considered the highest tide for that day?
No, it was not.
That time? What was the high point tide?
I do not know.
Do you know what the low point tide was?
I do not.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thanks.
Speaking of tides, the tide on the day that recreation was done, you indicated the tide was what exactly?
Plus 1.75.
Did you ever research what the tide was at that location on September 4th, 2022 at about 6:30 p.m.?
I did.
What was it?
The high tide of the day was at 4:48 p.m., which was plus 2.2. The low tide was going to be at 11:33 p.m., which is negative 0.7. So it's to be somewhere between there, roughly around 1.5 feet.
So at the time that the vessel collision happened in this particular case, the tide was lower than it was during this recreation?
It was.
Now, in terms of what that means as far as how high up or down the water moves along that channel marker, when would the water have been higher up on the channel marker? On the day of the recreation or at the time of the crash?
It was higher at the day of the recreation.
So at the time of the crash, would more of the sign have been visible?
It would have.
I want to show you a picture. It's in
That's a good point. But again, I was trying to say that when the defense is asking these questions, to me, it sounds like perhaps he was distracted, right? This other boat had come through. He was distracted. He was talking to the passengers and back, and bah, he hit the thing. Now, is distracted driving negligent? Typically, the answer is yes. Let me know what you think.
evidence. It states exhibit number 10. Do you recognize from this investigation who is depicted in these photographs?
More or less, yes.
And are a lot of these girls the girls that were in fact on the vessel?
Yes, ma'am.
And let me ask you a question first off. Are they black or white?
No.
Huh?
Colored picture.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We needed that on Friday. What is the race of these girls? Black, white?
Mostly white.
Okay. What about hair length?
Longer hair for most of them.
What are they wearing?
Sharing bikinis.
Some of them are wearing sunglasses.
Yes,
Overall, do these girls kind of look alike?
they do.
So when Mr. Pino is trying to tell you where he remembers the individual girls were, maybe not so easy to distinguish them when they're wearing bathing suits?
Correct.
The defense asked you about Mr. Pino saying that he's traversed that area thousands of times. Were you taking him literally at that moment?
No, ma'am.
So like if I say to you, we've had thousands of sidebars in this trial, do you think we've really walked over to the side of the judge's bench thousands of times?
No, ma'am.
Do you know if when Mr. Pino told you that he had had 2 beers, do you know for sure if that's the truth?
No.
When he told you that there was this other vessel that caused this crash, do you know if that's the truth?
No.
Do you know whether he said that because he was misremembering what happened?
No, ma'am.
Do you know if maybe he said that because he wanted to blame somebody else for this crash? Do you know?
No.
Nothing else.
All right, the witness is excused. Sir, you may be subject to recall. You may enter the speech.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're good for today?
Yes, my witness, I explained, will have to come back next week.
And we're just waiting for the hearing.
Okay, we are going to put it at normal speed because something happens. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I think the jury goes out and something
All
happens.
right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna end for today at this time. Please put your notepads inside your envelopes. We're going over a couple of days now. And it's very important. Everyone is curious, please. The instruction that. So then, again, everyone please remain in the courtroom to allow.
Hey, jurors are out. Something happens.
All right, everyone can have a seat. And a few things I just want to go over with all of you in preparation. I ask you please, and I had mentioned it before to the attorneys. I'm going to be looking at and working on the jury instructions this weekend. I'm going to be looking specifically at any special requested jury instructions. And that's going to include, I believe the state is provided me with a special requested instruction on the navigational rules. I'm going to be looking at that over the weekend. Okay? defense proposed instructions, which somewhat mirror, well, they do mirror, but they include additional, requests that are not within the current standard instructions. That's gonna be very important for us to discuss all of this. So the sooner that we start looking at them, and evaluating these current standard instructions for, the manslaughter and for, vessel homicide, for that. So please work on that over the weekend, and, I'll let you know that I am looking not only in Florida, because I know what the standard, we see what the standard instructions are, but I'm looking, again, throughout the state on that issue, and, may or may not be looking outside the state of Florida, because I'm not sure to what extent, the requests that have been made, how they, special instruction from the state, in addition to the additional language from the defense, as special instructions, I think a lot of this could be matters of first impression. So I invite you to look even outside of the state of Florida at how other jurisdictions might address some of these issues that we know we're gonna have. It's not gonna be a surprise what it is, okay? All right, that's the one thing. And the second thing is, in terms of where we're going as far as witnesses, my understanding is we're gonna have, I think, 2 additional witnesses from the state.
Yes,
Okay, one is gonna be from the court examiner.
correct.
Will that be your first witness for Monday?
I'm not sure. I need to speak with
See
each
how
of
that
them to
works out.
figure out
In
how their
terms of
schedules
time.
are.
All right, and then you're gonna have the witness, Mr. what is it? The expert.
Albert, A-L-B-E-R.
As your expert witness. Okay. If there are any issues that you anticipate regarding that witness, Mr. Albert, or either of the witnesses, okay, if you would put me on notice through email as to what concerns might be raised, so we will discuss those before we bring the jury in, as much as we can. Okay, because that's been very helpful in terms of keeping our proceedings smooth. All right, so that's all I have, and that would be the end of the state's case, and then we would move forward. I will ask, and I'm not going to comment because there's going to be defense motions at the close of the state's case. So if we do proceed, the defense should be ready to proceed with your witnesses for, I would imagine, sometime after lunch. I'd say have your witnesses ready before 1:30 or so in the afternoon. Just if we are proceeding past the defense motions, it should happen, okay? Does anyone have anything they want to talk about now?
Yes, Judge. Over one of the breaks, Mr. Shrevenick and I both signed off on a stipulation regarding the fact that the defendant's vessel was in operable condition on the day in question. I'd like to ask if that can be marked as a court exhibit and admitted into evidence.
All right, defense?
Yes.
Okay,
I signed it, yes.
okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it as a court exhibit.
Yeah.
Parties have stipulated, but then what I would do is, at the point.
Welcome back to Legalese 1, 2, 3, where we are covering. Sorry, having some technical difficulties.
Time that you asked me to publish that to the jury, I would publish it as a court exhibit. I would read them the instruction on stipulations, and then, I would read that to them.
Thank you.
That would be the court.
I'll leave it to you, though, to notify me
Yes.
at what point, you would like me to provide that information to the jury.
Excellent.
That would be Court Exhibit 1.
Court Exhibit 1, yes.
I am told that during my, I believe, redirect with Lieutenant Thompson, I could hear sound behind me, but I was focused on what was doing. I am told that the defendant may have been muttering something along the lines of, "It happens, it happens, it happens." I notice, from being over on that side when I need to view the angle of the monitor screen, he's in very, very close proximity to the jurors. And I hope maybe somebody misunderstood what was taking place, but I did hear noise behind me. And so I just hope that the defendant is not doing something along those lines.
I had made some adjustments to the seating arrangements of everyone, and I did not hear anything.
I'm sorry, do you have something you want to say to me? Why are
I
you
don't.
staring at me?
Excuse me.
I'm staring up there. I don't want to say anything.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to do this. Okay? I'm going to remind everyone, including not only people in the audience, but also specifically the parties, the attorneys as professionals, and Mr. Pino. We won't have this. No conversations back and forth. And I'll remind counsel again to please, make sure it's understood by Mr. Pino, because I'm not going to speak to Mr. Pino directly unless, of course, counsel has no issue with that. But I did not hear anything, but I'm reminding everyone that even gestures are inappropriate. So with any witness and with anyone in the courtroom. So not only verbal, but any kind of gestures from anyone in this courtroom that could potentially be seen by the jury. And again, that includes Mr. Pino, that includes me, frankly. Okay, that the jury could see or hear is improper. So, please, again, I did not hear anything and I did not see anything. So I'm just going to give everyone, counsel, I'm going to speak to you. May I say something to your client?
Of course.
Oh, Mr. Pino, I'm
Yes,
going
sir.
to remind you to please maintain composure and please no statements or whispering. Again, I didn't hear anything, and please refrain. I haven't seen anything from any kind of gestures or anything that could potentially be seen by the jury. Okay?
Okay, Your Honor.
Thank
For
you
the
very
record,
much. Thank
I haven't done any of those.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all we need to do. And I think with that, we've concluded our proceedings. See you all at 9:30 on Monday, the 15th. Thank you.
9:30.
Oh boy. Wow. Wow. Things got a little heated there at the end, didn't they? Woo! So, if Mr. Pino is behind the behind defense or prosecution, if they're behind there and he's making sounds and he's making gestures and stuff, you can't do that, right? So, oh my goodness. But when the prosecutor is directly talking to the defendant, even in court, ooh, that's a big no. You have to self-contain. Now, it is weird how the tables are facing each other like that. Normally they're like side by side, but boy, they are like this, and so she can see him, and oh, that's a weird arrangement. This courtroom's really weird. But she's a seasoned prosecutor. She's been doing this for years. I don't know what's going on. Is she like letting somebody get underneath her skin? It is a game. So, all right, with that, we'll go ahead and stop our stream today. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back on Monday for day 6 of the George Pino trial. Thanks for watching Legalese 123. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content.